Hello and welcome, my name is Kyle FtW and welcome back to another Black Ops Cold War video. In this video, I am bringing you guys the beginning of the map guide series here on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the map Satellite, which is of course one of the base maps in the game, and of course one of the maps that we got to play in the beta. I was originally actually going to do this video during the beta, but I thought that it would be kind of pointless to do it during the beta just in case, anything changed or, being able to have a wider variety of players. So, of course, I'm going to be bringing back the map guide series. You guys absolutely were amazing last year with my map guide series, and hopefully we can get the same support this year. Will we? I don't know. That'd be really, really cool if we did. So, starting off here with the layout of the map, we have ourselves a very, very, very interesting map layout here. There is lots of high ground, there's lots of low ground, and there is a wide area of openness. So if we look at the bottom area of the map, which you can see on the bottom of the map, we see all of the sand dune area of the map. And now this is a very, very wide open area of the map, and when we get there, I will talk more about how to play that area and everything like that. And then on the top of the map, which you can see on the little image of the mini map here, we have ourselves a lot of areas. So we have ourselves a big middle point with where the B flag is, where the middle hard point is, as well as a whole bunch of low ground areas where you can kind of, get below people and get around them. And then we have high ground areas where you can get a very, very good line of sight on enemies as well. So starting off here with the map, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be heading over to the right side of the map because I just want to. So starting off here with the right side of the map, there is a way straight from spawn to run through here. Of course, I am at the MI6 spawn right now, but you can go ahead and head right over towards your right. Head all the way over here, and then you can get yourself into kind of a wide open area, but be very, very careful out here because of course there are enemies all around on these sand dunes with their sniper rifles, with their assault rifles, and with their LMGs. So you have to be very, very, very careful coming up here. Early game doesn't really matter too much. I mean, early game with your sniper or your AR or whatever long range weapon you have, you should be able to get some pickoffs on enemies over here and around on the sand dunes. But of course, most people, from my experiences when they play this map, there are a couple that come over here to the sand dunes, but for the most part, people tend to stay over towards the middle of the map over here, depending on what gun they're using. Of course, if you are on the other team, which I think might be the DGI, then you can of course come through here, maybe get a flank on some enemies that may be hanging out over here, and everything like that. So that is a little, little bit of a look at at this part of the map. This is, of course, where the A flag is for domination, or the C flag. I think it's the A flag. So, again, but you want to be very, very careful because, there are a lot of angles to get shot from. If I go through here, for example, I can easily get shot from lots and lots of different angles. During the course of the game, of course, if you're right at the beginning of the game, your odds of getting shot over here are very, very low. But you have to be very, very careful because, coming over here, I mean, you can be shot from a lot of different angles. I'd say probably one there, one there, one there. So that's 3, 4, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 if there's an enemy right in front of you. So honestly, I recommend you kind of just come through here, maybe post up on this head glitch, get a few kills, and then run back here, run all the way back here, and head back down, and then head over towards that side of the map. That's probably how I would play it personally, but again, that's obviously up to you. Just trying to help you guys and give you guys some tips on how to master this map. Again, now there is a head glitch here, so be careful if you're over there that there could be somebody head glitching here. So for example, if I'm facing this way, be careful. Enemies can definitely be head glitching here at times, as well as you have to be careful if you're head glitching here where I am right now. Be aware of enemies down below, up here as well, just in case. Now that little piece of metal is not a head glitch, so you should be fine. I mean, but enemies can kind of peek their weapon right there in that little diagonal area. So be very, very careful. You don't want to, you just want to prepare that there will be enemies up there. And in all honesty, a lot of enemies love to camp up there, but I'll show you that in a second. But now we're going to go ahead and cover the sand dunes. So the sand dunes of the map, as I said, is definitely the long range parts of the map. You want to come out here with your AR, you want to come out here with your sniper rifle, and you want to come out here with your LMG. I would highly recommend that you do not come out here with your MP5 or your SMG. You will just be at a huge disadvantage. Obviously, if there's an enemy within medium range of you, you can pull out your secondary, try and take them out, but for the most part, I don't recommend coming here at all unless you plan on either sniping, using an AR, or using an LMG. So be very, very careful coming out here. Of course, I can definitely get some picks off of enemies. So there's a head glitch there. There's a head glitch there. There's a head glitch there. And there's a head glitch there from where I am standing. But of course, you can use these as cover as well. So, I mean, you technically could use an SMG if you wanted to over here. But I don't recommend it, again, because number one, it's going to take you a very, very long time to get to close range engagements. And number two, close range engagements are all on the other side of the map, which I'll cover here in a little bit. But of course, as I said, you can come through here and try and get some flanks. But again, boom, I'm at a disadvantage here with my SMG. But if I continue to run through here, I'm not at a disadvantage anymore, and there could be enemies, coming over the top of the sand dune or coming through here. Again, SMG range. But now again, I'm at a disadvantage once again. Boom, I can get shot from any angle. I can get shot from many, many, many different angles, including head glitches up there in the wreckage, from, pretty much anywhere. Anywhere you can look, obviously besides behind you, anywhere you can look, you can get shot from. So you have to be very, very, very careful in the sand dunes area. Again, if you're using an AR, or if you're using a LMG, I highly recommend that you don't spend too much time here. If you're using a sniper, I would recommend that you stay on the sand dunes pretty much the entire game. Would not recommend going anywhere else on this map except for the sand dunes if you are choosing to snipe. Obviously, if you're a quick scope, that's a different story. But if you're planning on sniping, with a hard scope, and you're planning to snipe like a real sniper, not that quick scopers aren't real snipers, but I'm just saying that, like if you want to be a real sniper where you're crouching and you're aiming down sights and you're hard scoping enemies, definitely spend time over here in the sand dunes. If you're a quick scoper, feel free to go wherever you want. That is always up to you. So again, sand dunes are pretty self-explanatory. It's the most wide open area of the map, so of course if there's kill streaks in the air, you're going to have to be very, very careful. But that's one thing of note that I wanted to mention, is that this map is incredible for kill streaks. Chopper gunners, attack choppers, napalm strikes, artilleries, all that stuff is really, really good on this map. So yeah, be very, very careful of that, because again, it's wide open. I mean, the whole sand dune area is the most wide open part of the entire game, from what I've seen from the other maps. So now that we have all this out of the way, we can go ahead and talk about a few little things. I mean, it's a pretty simple map, but it does get a little complicated if we go over towards this area of the map here. If I look on the map where, all that kind of, not the sand dune area of the map, is where it gets a little bit hectic, a little bit confusing. So now I am at the DGI spawn, just in case you guys were wondering. They can spawn back here, and I think they can spawn right here as well. The sea flag is of course right there. But again, this is where it gets a little bit crazy. So again, this is where all the high ground is. So again, you have to be very, very, very careful on this map. Personally, this is the best area for an assault rifle or an SMG. LMGs and sniper rifles and assault rifles are better in the sand dune portion of the map. Of course, LMGs are viable here as well, but I personally recommend assault rifles and SMGs just to make your life a little bit easier. But again, this is a couple of head glitch areas over here. I've seen plenty of enemies kind of sitting up here, kind of trying to take out enemies that are down there, as well as take out enemies that are down there as well. It's a pretty good spot. You will find some enemies here, so again, be very careful if you're coming towards this area of the map, to be aware that there could be somebody kind of just being sneaky and waiting for you to come by over here. So again, be very, very careful of that as well. So now, once I get here, there are 4 options I can go. I can either jump on that rock and head over towards the sand dunes. I can go through this pathway here. I can go through that pathway there, or I can go through that pathway over there. So I'm going to start off here with going this way. Of course, again, this will take you towards the sand dune area of the map. Be very careful here once again, because snipers, as I mentioned, all of the sand dunes are sort of mini head glitches. So with my AR right now, I am putting myself at a severe disadvantage, especially from enemies on that little rock head glitch there, on that little rock head glitch there, and of course all of the sand dunes over here. So what I recommend you do is, if you're going to try and take out enemies over here in this area of the map, is use this rock as cover. Of course, I can kind of go here. Obviously, I'm showing quite a bit of my body here, but if I go over here, I am much, much safer. You can pretty much only see my head, maybe my shoulders. So this is where I would recommend you stay if you're trying to take out enemies on the sand dunes. And again, be very careful here as well. You could come up here if you wanted to, but be aware that you could get shot in the side. You could get shot from enemies below you as well, from pretty much all of these areas over here. This is probably the best place to be if you want to take out enemies that are capturing either the B flag or getting the middle hard point, because of course you get a good advantage on them here, especially because you're on a head glitch. So coming through here now, this is an underground area, so you have to be very, very careful. always make sure that you are keeping track of the high ground on this map. I cannot express that enough. If you don't keep track of the high ground on this map, you are going to fail. It is not going to work out very well for you because, of course, there is so much high ground, quote unquote. I mean, there's this ledge here, there's that ledge there, there's all of this over here. Enemies can head glitch right there on that little outcrop of the satellite. There's enemies that can kind of head glitch on that little rock there, as well as on that little satellite piece there as well. So being down here is not something I would recommend unless you know for a fact that the enemies are behind you and you're facing this direction. Getting a little bit of a spawn trap on people spawning over here. Would not recommend spending any time here whatsoever. Of course, if you're facing this direction, for example, you may be able to get a nice kill on somebody that's not on these head glitches. But if you see somebody on a head glitch right where you're standing right here, instantly go this way. Instantly go this way. You do not want to stay here very long. You will easily be killed, and that's just not fun. Obviously, you want to get your streaks. But again, this is pretty useful for the most part. If you spawn in and you just sprint straight from your spawn through here, boom, I am automatically at their spawn. But again, I'm at a disadvantage once again because enemies are now above me. And the biggest thing about Call of Duty is high ground is always key when it comes to maps like this. Even though this is one of the most unique maps we've seen in Call of Duty with the elevation, sort of. High ground is where you will be at where you will succeed the most. And that's how I recommend playing this map. If you want to succeed at this map, make sure you stick to the high ground. Again, stick to these little areas up here. Stick to the areas over here. Because again, if you're running down and you're spending a lot of your time down kind of in these little gullies, you are putting yourself at a severe disadvantage. Number one, especially this little hallway here, the only way to escape is front and back. If I'm up here, I can easily escape down here. Boom, I'm in cover. I can easily escape down here. Boom, I'm in cover. Or I can just go straight off the top, head over here, and boom, I am in cover. So tend to stick to the high ground on this map. That is definitely how I recommend playing it. Don't camp on the high ground, but make it quick. If you're going to be down here in this little area, make it quick. Try and get to the high ground as soon as possible. So now that we have all that out of the way, we can go ahead and head over here to this side of the map. I think we pretty much covered this as well. I mean, again, this just takes you to this area over here. Be very, very careful over here because enemies can be kind of hiding behind this little wreckage here. And I will mention something here in a second, but I will say that for just a little bit longer. But again, you can come over here, and again, you can do this third area as well. Be careful of enemies coming through here as well. From either angle. Again, be careful coming through here to make sure that there's not an enemy there, and come through here making sure there's not an enemy there. So of course, if you go this way, it's pretty easy to take out any enemies that are hiding behind here. But where things gonna get a little bit, the worst part about this map for me personally, and the part that I really want to keep you guys aware of, is this area right here. If I'm standing up here on this little rock ledge, the gunfights are the most 50-50 they ever are in this game. The reason for that is because you will either see a smidge of the enemy, or you will see a smidge of you will always see a little tiny smidge of that enemy. If I'm right here and I'm standing up here, I will see just a tiny little head right here. If I am fighting an enemy up here, the enemy most of the time can see me before I can see them. Now, you can kind of use this wall towards your advantage, but again, the enemy can still see you because, you know, your shoulder is showing, your left shoulder is showing as you come up here. This is where I've had the most difficulty on this map, is this area right here, this little area right by the satellite, because for some reason the gunfights here are very, very random. I mean, if I am up here, yes, I am head glitching, but the enemy that I am shooting at is also head glitching. Same thing here. The enemy could be head glitching up there, but I'm kind of trying to show you guys specifically here, because again, it's just, for some reason, I've had difficulties with this part of the map and my gunfights. So just be very, very careful. If I were to be completely honest, I would recommend probably not spending too much time up here. Maybe you could try and head over here, try and get yourself a better advantage on the enemies here. But coming through this area, unless you have a shotgun or you have an SMG, just be careful. That's all I'm going to say, is just be very, very careful coming through here. Of course, some of the difficulties that I have on the map might not be the difficulties that you have. But again, this is where a lot of enemies tend to hang out. You can camp in here. Again, I'm showing camping spots so that you are aware of the camping spot if you are a rusher, because yeah, I don't condone camping whatsoever. But again, you can find people camping in here who are kind of trying to shoot you from over there, or trying to shoot you over there. So be very, very careful. Know that there could be people camping in here. Again, another head glitch. So I showed you guys that earlier. So again, it would be head glitch versus head glitch if you're head glitching over there. But if you're running through here, boom, easy bait. Again, over here, easy, easy, easy. So, you know, when I mentioned over there, again, high ground is key. Stay on that head glitch and try and take out enemies, and then you can push forward once again. But, I mean, from what I've played of this map, which is a lot, because of course this was a beta map, and I mentioned this earlier as well, high ground is key. You will succeed. If you can dominate this area of the map, this satellite area, you will absolutely destroy on this map. Absolutely destroy. Because it is the highest point of the map, and you know, if you have a full team and you are up here the entire game, enemies can't get the B objective. It is extremely, extremely hard to flank, extremely hard to really do anything. So again, if you can control this top area of the map, you will absolutely succeed. So just keep that in mind. But again, I'm trying my best to try and help any of you guys who want to try and take out those enemies who are up here. Use the head glitches, use the cover around the map, use the sand dunes, use the rocks and stuff to try and get the enemies off of here, because again, it goes both ways. So last but not least, we'll go ahead and talk about the spawn area once again, coming over to the right, because I talked about the left side of the map, you know, leaving towards the left. So obviously I spawn here, or I talked about the right, sorry. So I spawn here, I head towards the right over there. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the left side of the map from the MI6 point of view. So again, I can go there, or I can go there. So obviously, if you want to go this way, you definitely can. Again, early game doesn't really matter too much, but if you're late game to mid game, be careful of enemies there, and up there, and be careful about enemies up here as well. Try and get over here as quick as possible, so you're now equal with the enemies. If you are down here, you're at a very, very big disadvantage. From what I have played of this map, I rarely ever see any enemies go down here to start off the game. Normally what I see, and normally what I do when I personally play this map, is I tend to go this way, head over here, you know, try and take out some enemies that are up here, and then continue heading over this way. I think that's the best thing that you could possibly do. Definitely recommend going as far to the left as you can on this map, so that you are at that high ground. But again, the same situation on the other side here. Very, very hard to see enemies here, and I've been killed a lot of times, especially because this is kind of a blind corner. You won't know if there's enemies there and sitting in this little alcove or not, so be very, very careful. And again, the thing about Call of Duty is you have to be very, very careful, be very, very map aware, and that's what the point of these videos are, is to kind of show you guys where people will be hanging out. Again, if you choose to, you can also go through the middle here and then head straight up here. But again, if you do get into a bad situation, you can use this little rock here as a head glitch as well if you want to. Of course, I went crouched there. And you can also use this as cover as well. Never really see people coming over here. But if you know that enemies are coming over here, coming down below you, then you can be prepared for them over here and not have to worry about getting shot in the back. That is going to do it for a look at the map Satellite. Personally, I think that this is probably the second best 6v6 map in the game. Based off of the beta and based off of how I felt about the beta, this always felt like it was a good map. Never really had any problems with it. As I said, there's only two places I had problems, and that's really just here and trying to fight people with SMGs on the sand dunes. But as long as you use the weapon that you're going to be using that match how it's supposed to be used, if you're using it, as I said, I'll say it one more time, assault rifle, LMG, sniper rifle, spend time over here in the sand dunes. SMG, AR, spend time over here in the rocks of the map. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We absolutely destroyed it on my support on my Piccadilly map guide over a year ago. It's my most viewed video on the channel. I highly doubt that this will be as viewed as that one, but if you guys like these videos, I'd like rating is always appreciated. And if you want to subscribe, I would really appreciate it as well. I will have videos of Black Ops Cold War for the entire year, most likely. You know, map guides, weapons, live gameplays, all that sort of stuff is right here on the channel. So anyway, guys, live life, guys, enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys all on another episode of Map Guides very soon.